With 9.5 seconds left in Game 2 of the NBA Finals, Victor Wembanyama had the basketball, a tied game, and his team's entire season sitting in his hands. He never got a shot off. So how does the best player on the floor end the night as the reason his team is in a 2-0 hole? Let's walk through the cruelest 9 seconds of San Antonio's year. Here's the thing you have to hold in your head the whole time. Wembanyama was magnificent in this game. 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, and a fourth quarter where he nearly dragged a 62-win team back from the dead in front of its own crowd. And he is still the man 2 plays decided it on. Both stories are true. That's what makes it hurt. This game is called Real quick before we dig in, if you like breakdowns that actually show the math instead of just yelling takes at you, go hit subscribe. It's free and it genuinely helps. So click it. First, the masterpiece. Because you can't understand the heartbreak without it. Start with the scoring. 29 points on 21 shots in a finals game as the offensive hub of everything San Antonio did. That's not a volume chuck. That's a number 2 option in the league carrying a team that, frankly, could not throw the ball in the ocean around him. Now the part box scores undersell. 4 blocks. He was the rim, the help, and the deterrent all at once, erasing shots New York thought were clean. When people say he changes a game without scoring, this is the number they mean. 4 times he simply said no at the basket. And watch what he did to the free throw line. 5 of his points came from getting fouled, because every time the offense stalled, the answer was the same. Give it to the 7-footer and let him draw a body. For 3.5 quarters, he was the only stable thing San Antonio had. Then came the fourth quarter, and he tried to author a comeback for the ages. Set the scene. With about 6 minutes left, an OG Anunoby dunk put New York up 97-83. 14 points on the road in a finals with the building starting to empty. That game was, by every win probability model, already over. New York sat above 98%. Look at that number for a second. 98% win probability for the Knicks. That is the part of the broadcast where the graphics people start prepping the final score. San Antonio's chances were a rounding error. And then the rounding error decided it wanted to fight, and Wembanyama led the charge personally. Earlier, he'd buried a 27-foot 3 to keep them breathing. Now he attacked, a finger roll through the lane with about 4 minutes left. Then, with the building suddenly loud again, an alley-oop dunk that cut it to 100-99. The Phenom had hauled a dead team to within a single point of the league's hottest road star. So now the math had completely flipped. A game New York owned at 98% was a coin flip. The crowd believed, the bench was up, and Wembanyama, after a quiet game 1 and a brutal start to this series, looked exactly like the player everyone promised. For about 3 minutes, this was his signature finals night. Quick interruption, because if you've made it this far, you clearly care about the details. Hit subscribe. I'm not going to beg, but I am going to ask, so hit it and I'll wait. And then the 9.5 seconds that will follow him into the offseason. Tie game, 104 apiece after Jalen Brunson hit a fadeaway with 39 seconds on the clock. San Antonio gets a stop. Wembanyama rises up and grabs the defensive rebound with about 11 seconds left. Tie game, his team's ball, a chance to either win it or take the last shot of regulation. Everything San Antonio wanted sitting right in his hands. What happens next is the play they'll replay all summer. Bringing the ball up himself, he tries to make a pass, the wires get crossed, and Jalen Brunson reads it the whole way. Steal. With 9.5 seconds left in a tie finals game, the ball is in the wrong hands, and the man who forced it was the same man who just carried them back.
He had to foul, so he did. Immediately, sending Brunson to the line. Brunson made the first to put New York ahead by 105-104, and missed the second on purpose's evil twin. A miss San Antonio couldn't corral cleanly. Now the 7-footer had one more chance to fix it. The whole arc of the night came down to a single possession. 2 seconds left. The ball finds Wembanyama at about 20 feet. The same player who had been automatic for a quarter rises into the most important jumper of his young life. and it misses. Knicks rebound, clock 0, final score 105-104. The comeback, the masterpiece, all of it, gone on the last 2 touches he had. So how do you hold these 2 truths at once? Plot the night. On one axis, the brilliance. 29 points, 9 boards, 4 blocks, a 14-point rally he personally fueled. On the other, the cost. 4 turnovers, the last one a steal in a tie game, and a missed game winner. He lived in the top corner of greatness and the bottom corner of heartbreak in the same 40 minutes. Now the honest part, because the easy story would be to call him a choker. Don't. He's 22 years old, playing the second finals game of his life, and he was the best player in an arena that also held Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. The turnover was real, and the miss was real, but they sit on top of a performance most stars never reach. This wasn't a player failing. This was a young superstar one clean possession away from stealing a game he had no business keeping close. And here's the brutal context that makes it sting. San Antonio is now down 2 games to none, having lost both at home, and both by the thinnest margins. 10 in game 1 and a single point tonight. Wembanyama gave them a chance most superstars couldn't have. The margin for error was 1 possession, and it ran out with the ball in the right player's hands at exactly the wrong moment. So remember the whole line, not just the ending. 29, 9, and 4, with the rally and the heartbreak attached. Years from now, if this kid does what everyone expects, this is the night people point to as the one that taught him how to close. The genius showed up. The last 9 seconds are the tuition. And don't lose the defense in the heartbreak, because it's half the reason this was a masterpiece. New York shot just under 42% as a team, and a big slice of that was the 7-footer sitting in the lane like a toll booth. 4 blocks is the counted number. The uncounted one is every Knick who saw him waiting and passed up a layup for a worse shot. He bent an entire offense around the rim all night. Now stack the 2 games together because the growth is real. In game 1, he went for 26 and 12 and got criticized for a quiet finish. In game 2, he answered with 29, 9, and 4 blocks and a 4th quarter takeover. 2 finals games into his career, he's averaging a near double-double with elite rim protection. The production was never the problem. The last possession was. So what actually went wrong on the turnover? It wasn't effort and it wasn't nerves. It was a decision. With the ball up top and the game tied, he tried to make a read instead of simply attacking, and a great defender in Brunson sat on it. That's a process error, the kind film fixes in an afternoon. The miss at the buzzer was a tough 20-footer that simply didn't fall. Neither is a flaw in the player. Both are the tuition of being 22 in June. So I'll leave it with you. Was this a failure or the most promising losing performance of the entire finals? A 22-year-old on the road in his own building, 9.5 seconds from flipping a series nobody thought he could flip. Tell me down in the comments where you land, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We're in a race to 1,000 subscribers, so please join the family.